Hi, everybody. Welcome to the new normal. I am your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa, and thank you if you found this link to this show. I know I had these. Oh, I don't think you can hear me. Can you hear me? My mic is all messed up. I've got all kinds of things going on today. Well, we'll see if we can get this figured out by the time we come back with everyone having boundaries. We're in our final meeting show for boundaries right after this. Hi, ladies. Welcome back. Good to have you all back and feeling well. And
good to be back.
Yeah, we're halfway through the winter holidays, I guess. Or, well, I guess not technically. A couple more started in winter, but it feels like we're halfway through. Coming up on the end of the year, I think this is a perfect time. The timing of doing this study, I think, was really good. Considering, with Thanksgiving with a lot of family members, we're going into Christmas, all the holiday gatherings with friends and family members, work parties, Twitter battles, Paigey, all the good things. So I just wanted to go over kind of like as we're wrapping this up, if everybody wanted to we could just kind of take turns and go around kind of what one big takeaway for you was of this, or what your favorite part was, or something you learned, or if you felt like you grew from this, or if you could share with us. And Carly doesn't like getting put on the spot, so Paigey, would you start us out?
Thank you. I did prepare though. So.
Yes, I would love to start. First of all, thank you, Lisa, so much for bringing this book into our lives and starting this book club. It has massively changed my life, and I think my boundaries are stronger than they've ever been because of this book. So just very thankful for this entire experience and for you ladies jumping on here every Monday and us cultivating a deeper relationship and connection with each other. It's truly been just such an epic experience with all of you. So thank you, thank you. And some of my favorite parts of this book, I mean, the whole thing was just incredible. And I loved how it was structured, how we went over what is a boundary, what a boundaryless life looks like, how to create deeper boundaries. I loved how it was categorized into different sections of your life, like friends, family, work, technology. And I really enjoyed how it was structured. And I think my two favorite parts that I wrote down were that boundaries are like a fence with a gate, and your boundaries should consistently be you should be assessing your boundaries. You should be opening and closing different boundaries based on where you're at in your life, based on your relationships with other people, and that boundaries aren't this hard, rigid line that you need to set. It's a more fluid experience with yourself and with the people around you. So I love that. And the second part I really like was to find the misery and make a rule. And recently in my life, I with all the work that I've been doing, I have not been drinking. I have not been partaking in other extracurriculars that I typically partake in. And Charlie, thank you for that.
Oh, Lord.
And sometimes it is hard to find the misery. I mean, if you love pizza, but your dairy just doesn't sit well with you, making a hard rule of I'm not going to eat this because I don't like how I feel, sometimes that can be really hard to do. But I like this whole idea of find the misery and make a rule, and how much better our lives can improve and how much better our lives can be when we truly stick to our guns and we truly stick to these boundaries. It can massively change your life in the blink of an eye. And I've definitely felt those effects in my life. And I can honestly say I feel like I'm the happiest I've been. My relationships with people are the best they've been in a really long time. And I loved the story at the end, bringing it full circle of what her life looks like now with all of these boundaries in place and how it's flourishing, she's thriving. And I think that's we're all capable of that. We're all capable of living a very boundary driven life. And I'm just so excited and looking forward to what this next year has in store and putting all of this work into practice and just seeing how much better life continues to get.
That's really great. I love it's so funny to me to hear you say you love the structure, because I know how you are. I know your gifts, or I know some of your gifts. And so that's funny. That's so who you are, is that very structured, get things done kind of. So you resonate with that. And I think that's really beautiful that you can see the results of, I mean, something that, we took on as, hey, let's try this and let's try to make the world a better place and let's share this experience. Let's be vulnerable together, and let's share this experience with the community and with the world. And you are able to benefit from it personally as well and see those effects in your life. So that's really beautiful. This study, like I said, I mean, over the course of my life, I've read it. There were years where I read it more than once a year, but there were times where I read it once a year because I just really needed that reminder that it's, that I'm allowed to say no. And for me, that warning of not being allowed, not having anger come up. I think they mention it. A lot of things repeat in this over and over. I think we noticed that during discussion. We were like, didn't we just talk about that last week? But they kind of unpack it every time that they do bring it up again. They unpack it in another way, whether it's identifying it or giving you some tools and then finding resolution in it. But for me, that piece of it, of not having that anger bell go off, only in some areas. Like when it comes to my kids, my anger flag will go up. If it comes to protecting children, like I am mama bear and I no apologies. The boundaries are all there, like all that. But anytime it was to protect myself, I didn't have those before. And so I've learned to love myself a little more and put some boundaries up there. Yeah. So, Amy, do you want to tell us what you loved or liked or didn't like, or what your kind of takeaway of the boundaries study was? I know you listened to the audiobook, which I think is great because I know you're really active and busy. And so taking it in auditorily and then playing it out or having those kind of discussions in your head with yourself, how was that for you?
I wish I had a big piece of paper that just said ditto what she said, or I don't even know what direction I'm supposed to.
I'll point for you. Yes.
Yeah. I did actually enjoy the book. Listening to it to me is just easier. Sitting down and reading is really hard for me to do a lot of the times. Most of the time, it's like I'll get 2 pages in and I'm like, okay, what did I just read?
Or I should be doing something.
I'm always active. I'm always moving around.
Around the boundaries book.
I know, exactly. Need to put boundaries around my activities. But my biggest takeaway from the book, again, same thing as Paige. I liked the way it was structured. I liked how it explained what boundaries were, looking at like an unboundaried life, boundaryless life was good. And then watching it, transition, being okay. It's, my biggest takeaway was that it's not selfish to put boundaries on relationships or even yourself. Wow, it's getting really dark. It was weird. It's like someone turned the lights on over here. So yeah, that was my biggest takeaway, that it's okay to put boundaries on relationship. And also that if the person's upset about it, it's not really your problem.
Yes.
You know, it's you can be helpful to the person that you put that boundary up with, you know, by what was it they were saying, like, okay, well, what can I do for you? You know, this is my boundary. You don't need to talk to me this way. I won't stand for you to talk to me this way. You know, and when you're ready to talk to me in a civilized way, then we'll continue this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or acknowledging the fact that the other person is hurt and saying, what can I do to help you with that?
Right.
Instead of taking on their anger and making it your own, and just
Or
having
being
that.
manipulated by those feelings of guilt. I
Right.
think I'm just thinking of like the holiday thing coming up, and so many people have, you know, so many feelings of guilt and all that associated with, you know, well, we have to go here, we have to go there. But are you really doing what you want to do? That's the healthy boundary for, you know, your family or yourself and your immediate family, whatever those things are. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, that was my biggest takeaway. As I'm getting like older, like in my younger years, it was really hard for me to even distinguish what my boundaries were. I, you know, thinking like, oh, well, I have to do this because I love this person, and so I'm gonna show them how much I love them by going along with what they say and what they do and what they like, and you know, his likes became my likes, that kind of thing. It's just like, no.
Yeah, you really lose yourself.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Like, I'm so proud of Carly and Paige and just the emotional maturity that they have at their
Absolutely.
age. If I had been that wise, maybe, boy, I'd had a lot less painful experiences, I'm sure. But
I will say I am so grateful how, like, I know you didn't personally make me independent, but I obviously came out very independent, and that's like, not like I'm comparing myself to other people, but comparative to other people who aren't as independent, like it makes life just so much easier and relationships so much easier because I'm not dependent on one person.
Right.
when you don't take on other people's crap.
Right.
I think, like Amy was saying a second ago, that kind of like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm sorry that you feel that way in a genuine way. Like, you don't want to hurt somebody else or whatever, but I'm not going to change my behaviors, that my healthy behaviors, to facilitate your unhealthy behaviors.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah. So Carly, before you share with us your favorite parts, you closed your eyes there for a little bit when you were explaining, and your beautiful purple eye came in. You might tell everybody.
I was doing.
You're preparing for a competition this weekend.
I'm preparing for a jiu-jitsu competition this weekend. It's my last time competing as a white belt, so I'm going very, very hard, and I've cried twice. So I think I'm prepared enough to kick my butt. I think I'm ready to kick some butt this time. So
maybe I shouldn't come to the thing. I don't know.
It'll be good.
Yeah. So I'm very proud of you for all of that too, because that's been a big. Or I've noticed a big change in your self-confidence and all that, and the boundaries.
It's allowed me to be a more, like, I'm just, it's like I thought that being strong meant like putting up all these walls and putting up all these boundaries, and you need to put up boundaries to people, but also there's some like self boundaries you can think of, like, why am I letting that person's, what they said to me, why am I letting that control my whole entire being? And so I'm going to put up a boundary in myself to not let what others say affect me. And I'm still struggling with that, but I'm getting better at it. And this book has helped a lot. Like, I'll tell it because my gym is very small, but there is one woman there who she just kind of will like coach people without people asking them, and like give pointers, and it's like always rude and condescending, and like there's like 3 other girls who are always like, yeah, here she comes again, trying to like tell us something to do. And it used to get me so angry where I would leave the gym and I would call my coach and I'd be like, this bitch, you know what she did? Sorry, you know what she did? And she'd be like, yeah, I know, she shouldn't be doing that. And like then I'd be all mad, and and then I just like it was like one day, it was like the 3rd time she really did it to me, and it really bothered me. And I was just like, and I was talking to one of my coaches, and she was like, you need to just like not let it bother you. And I was like, you say that, but I can't. And then I thought about this book and I was like, okay, it's possible. I'm just letting my emotions get so involved in it that it's clouding all of my judgment. So when I stopped and like, now when I do interact with her, I just take it in and I allow it to happen, and I realize that she's gonna go home with her ego issue and I'm gonna go home without one. So
that's a great point, Carly. That was something that I used to really admire in people that I would see that could handle something like that. That like, and I would kind of battle with like, that person's associating themselves with you, or they are pushing over this, they're violating this or that, or they shouldn't be doing this or that,
Yeah, and like I'm right, they shouldn't, but it's not my thing to fix.
But if it's not your role to stop them, like everyone else in the gym could see it too.
Yeah.
You don't have to be the one to point it out, because then it like drags you into their problem. You can put boundaries with yourself.
Not going to be your punching bag. Like, I'm not going to be your healing partner. I'm not going to roll with you. I'm not going to talk to you.
Yeah.
And sometimes that sucks because I feel like I'm putting up that wall again, but.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's great. Yeah. I think it sounds like we all, benefited from it in some ways. I know it was, like I said, it was very repetitious, but I think that's part of their teaching method or strategy or whatever. I know when we come back, I'd like to continue meeting. Hopefully ladies are all in on that. I know we talked about doing Amy's cleanse for starting in January. Yay!
Yay!
And I'm so excited about it.
By the yay. They're like, yay! And then if you have done it, it's like a woo.
Woohoo. Yes. No, it's going to be good. And I think it's a great way to start the year. I think it's a good thing to, whether you're fasting or doing a cleanse, something like that, to kind of give yourself, reset your system, all that. I think that it'll be great for all of us in the community, and we can kind of, as we're doing whatever method or winning or failing with it, I think it'll be cool to share some of that stuff too. Just to kind of share the journey kind of thing. But we've got a couple more weeks before Christmas, before January. So hopefully we can still meet and talk about some wonderful holiday stuff, I guess. I don't know. We'll figure it out. And Amy, when did you get started on the raw food?
The reboot?
The reboot. Yeah.
I think it was in 2017 when Vix and I met Christoph Melchizedek in Acapulco. We were at an Acapulco event and we ran into him, and he, Will Lair from Perpetual Assets, had already gone through his Divine Keys is what it was called.
Okay.
Really great program, honestly. But we were really impressed with what he had gone through, and he was talking it up. And so we ended up taking the class from Christoph and his wife, Alea. And the very first thing that we had to do with the program was go through a physical cleanse. And so that's what got us interested. I mean, people were watching Bix like thin out on camera.
Yeah, I remember.
A lot of questions as to what he was doing. So then he turns to me and says, hey, why don't you instruct people on how to do this? And hemmed and hawed and kind of drug my feet. And I was just like, ah. So we started it on the road to Ruta. Actually, there's still it was called the 21-day cleanse or something like that. It's still on the website, on the Road to Ruta website. But then it gained a lot of popularity. So then I made, with the help of Josh, a really beautiful website. And that's how the raw21reboot.com came about. And then the Telegram group was developed. And then, yeah, I tried sticking with it and getting people to start, like every month you can start your cleanse, because it's on the honor system. There's no there's no set menu. There's recipes that you can follow and use. Ones that I especially like are on the website. But it's, it is fun to have like a community that you can reach out to, which the raw 21 reboot Telegram is still live and I still check it quite frequently, but there hasn't really been any activity. So anybody can start it at any time they want to. I usually say to give yourself about 5 days of prep. Like go over the recipes, print out the recipes that you like. That's how you make your shopping list for when you go to the store. And then, look at people who are raw chefs. Because there is quite a lot of prep involved. If you want to go beyond raw salads, raw smoothies, raw soups. If you want to go beyond that, there's meatloafs that you can do that are raw, but you need a dehydrator for it. You need
like an air fryer.
No, it has to be at a very low temp.
Okay.
I believe it can't go above 118. Maybe some people say 160. That the temperature is always in debate as far as like what keeps things from killing off all the enzymes, like what temperature.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
There's raw lasagnas you can make with like zucchini and like everything is typically a lot cooler, like served cold or cool.
Room temperature. Yeah. So,
because I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, but if we're going to be doing this in January, I've been seeing a naturopathic doctor for a while now. And I was joking around with her that we're going to be doing the reboot in January. And she was kind of like, okay, well, try to supplement.
Because there's not a lot of vegetables and stuff available organically.
Yeah. And with it being so cold outside, you want to counterbalance that cold in your body by keeping your body warm. And so she says, try to supplement it with maybe some warm broths, some more warm vegetable broths. So I might be suggesting doing that if we want to do it in January. So,
should we reconsider when we do it?
Totally up to you and the group. I would say definitely if we wanted to do it in January, let's not do it during that first week. Do it start on that first Monday of January. Otherwise, if we want to move into February,
is it better in the summer months for when it's like a little bit warmer? There's more like vegetables and
that makes sense.
That are out in there in season and.
I was already thinking of ways to apologize to you guys for breaking it. So it might be if we did it when there's more stuff available.
That's funny. Yeah. No,
I'll put up a poll in the Telegram group, and if everybody, and we'll do this and see what everybody what the feedback is. But if everybody wants to, if we can do something else for January, and get into fitness, or I don't know.
We can save up some money too. I find it can be a little pricey, but we can like save up some money until the summer months, and then we can hit it hard in like June, July, and then we'll also be losing a bunch of weight in summer, which is always,
Maybe we need to get Nana on here in January for how to grow your garden or something. Amy, you guys used to have a garden. I'm sure you do now with your Bale property now, but I remember Bix used to film from the greenhouse.
Yeah.
The garden. It's epic. It's absolutely epic.
Yeah. Bix has been doing a fantastic job. He's got the potatoes in one of the planter boxes right now. And he's got grow lights because it's so overcast these days now with the rain and everything. It's pretty awesome. I mean, we don't have to buy bags of lettuce anymore. the lettuce. I mean, our garden's just popping with lettuces right now. So yeah, but I honestly, if we wanted to do like sometime in February, I think would probably be a better February, March.
Into the spring, maybe.
Yeah, going beyond April into May, maybe. But I wouldn't even do it in June or July, honestly. I wouldn't do it.
If anyone's interested, also, the Road to Ruta just partnered with the Grow Network, and they have a ton of great information on gardening, even if you are in an apartment or if you don't necessarily have a house. They just have some great information on homesteading, growing a garden, raising rabbits, lamb, or sheep. So
in your apartment.
Chat. But you can. She suggested we can raise rabbits or quail. I'm sorry, I think it was quail.
Yeah.
To raise as meat, but I personally don't. I would not be able to
kill the little things.
I can't.
Not after raising them. Oh my god.
Not after raising them. It's just a little too hard for me.
Yeah. Oh, I like mine to come without faces, you know.
Yeah.
I like my meat not to have a face. I know that's so hypocritical, but it's very hard to, yeah.
Amy, this question popped in my head. I was going to ask you, do you know of like HelloFresh, that place that'll send you food to your door?
Yeah.
Do you do any like raw, or do you know of any raw food people that'll send stuff to your door like that?
No, but I'll look into that. That's really good. The only one that I do know that will deliver raw juices to your door, I believe, is Farmer's Juice.
Look at that.
There's a link on the raw food website that talks about the juice delivery service that goes right to your door.
Okay, perfect.
And it's pretty good. I know the last time I did it, I remember their juices being very ginger heavy, which is good because it's a soup that's super cleansing. So
interesting.
Yeah, I'll do the link in our private chat, Lisa. If you
want. Yeah, thanks.
Mine isn't coming up in the chat.
Okay.
I think HelloFresh though does a lot of cooked stuff, right?
Yeah, I think.
Oh, I think there's another one where they send you ugly produce, like the produce that you can't sell in the stores because it's considered ugly because it's like the carrots are like two-pronged.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. So I'll do some research on it. But yeah, this is our new partner, the Grow Network. Marjorie Wildcraft. Thank you. I know another one named Gladstone, so that's why I struggled.
A free webinar with our new partner, the Grow Network, to learn how the fastest, easiest way to produce healthy and delicious meat, eggs, and vegetables. Very cool. So it says in this webinar, you will get status of global food shortages, how long the crisis will last, how much space you need to grow food, easiest, highest calorie foods you can produce, complete plan for producing all the food you need, how to get started today, regardless of season. And Marjorie will show you the fastest, easiest, simplest ways to produce calories and nutrition, especially in a crisis and or grid down situation. The assumption is that you have no experience and you need to start producing food immediately. This is great.
Yeah, their website is absolutely amazing. I'm pretty sure it's like a subscription base, and there is just some epic information on health, on growing your own food. Anything you want to learn is on this website. So I definitely recommend checking out the Grow Network, and I think that link, the pebbletonfarms.com, will take you there.
Okay, perfect. Well, we'll do some brainstorming and see. Maybe we'll get Nana on here we could talk about like getting your garden started, growing what to grow, that kind of stuff. Maybe some food prepping even, and then get Nana on here to talk about canning. And I've been trying to get her to maybe redo she did a cookbook, which Carly has a copy of, that she created a cookbook with some of her girlfriends when they lived out in the Mojave Desert when we were little babies. and they did like how to make your own soap, how to all these holistic healing kind of. They had this spiritual advisor guy, Lama Singh, that they would get readings from or tapes from, and he would do like whether it was meditations or he would give them like a prophetic word about something in the future or something. And so they put some of his stuff in the book, and everything from, you know, I don't know, curing a sore throat to helping, you know, do Christmas crafts with your kids, or like I said, making your own soap or laundry detergent, or different things. It was really cool. Canning, making different kinds of bread. One year when I was little, I needed a science project, and my mom was like, "Oh, make a sourdough starter," and I was like, so I had like a little, and of course she made it cute because that's my mother. So we took like a little mason jar and put a mini bandana on him to look like a miner, you know, because that's how sourdough came about, was that they were using fermentation to have their bread last longer or whatever. And so she had, and I guess I liked it because I got to get out of class, because you had to go stir it every once in a while. So that made me very happy. But I don't know, it might be fun. We could kind of go through January and work on some healthy choices of prepping and cook and growing. And what do you think, Paige?
We could do a dry January too. And
yeah, that'd be fun.
No,
I'm just kidding. That was my big commitment, was that yeah. And Carly like, I'm out. No wine, no anything. No, I was thinking about that, because to me that was like the big. I'm not a big foodie. Like, I don't really care what I eat. I could not eat and I would be fine. Like, I just don't really. But for me, having a drink at night kind of is like, oh, you're off duty. You're not at work anymore.
Yeah.
You don't have to, you know, and so I don't know. I think I would have to get a new habit of giving myself permission to be off duty. You know what I mean? And I think that's pretty common with people, is like, that's why it's such a thing of holding the glass, or, you know, I think that's why smoking is so addictive for some people, is the habit of the mechanism. Yeah. The oral fixation, the pattern, the mechanism, you know, the tactical parts of addiction.
And not being of like sober mind, sober spirit, where typically if you're doing work, you want to be of sober mind, so that you can make sure you're getting everything done correctly. And then as soon as you kind of switch out of that mode, it kind of tells your brain like, okay, you don't have to do anything you have to be really responsible around, or clear-headed about. And so I was in that category as well. And it definitely has to switch. You have to have something that is telling your body and brain that it's now a relaxed time, whether that's a walk or maybe like getting into a book or something. Like they're
a meditation, whatever. Yeah.
Some yoga stretching.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah. So, but replace it with something. Don't leave nothing in its place, kind of thing.
Yeah, at least until the habit is built. It takes like around 21 days to build a habit. So having something to supplement that, so that you don't fall prey to just like, oh well, it's there, you know, it's just sitting there all lonely.
I would do a dry January with you if somebody wants to. I'd need an accountability partner.
February.
I'll do it if I can smoke.
February is actually the shortest month of the year, so.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm good either way. Whatever you guys want to do. Whatever you guys want to do. I'll put a poll together. Maybe we should do food and prep in January and do a dry February. That's not very romantic, but I guess you can still be romantic.
Never the right time, truly. It's never going to be the right time to
That's true.
get sober, be sober, do some type of dry month or 21 days.
Especially with social events and stuff like that's because so many people have drinking as part of a social event, you know. I think that's why during the holidays, you know, so many people, it's hard for them to like to do a dry or sober, which some of that's just being around families. But if you have healthy boundaries,
Yep. You have healthy boundaries, you can do it.
Yeah.
Well, I'd love to lead a sober, you know, dry month or just sober curious journey for people. So yeah, we can talk more about that.
Yeah.
Start that up.
We'll have to. So there's a link in the description for our Mighty Siren books group or a Mighty Siren group Telegram group. If you guys want to jump on there and give us some feedback, I'll put a couple polls in and we can kind of talk about some different stuff that we want to attack. When we started doing this, I really wanted to be thoughtful or be mindful about, like, you know, what we would be teaching Mia if she was here. And the other thing that I want to hit on at some point is internet safety. There's a great, and I actually bought the movie and watched it with Canon this weekend, and we stopped it a couple times and had some discussions. Because, and I know, you know, we're all adults here, but even with adults having boundaries, and that's why I kept talking to him about boundaries. So this kind of transitioned for me some, but how scary the internet can be. And with, you know, young kids or young minds, they are so impressionable and they don't really know, you know, they don't understand the consequences of things. They don't understand that, you know, like this one little girl was talking with what she thought was a 16-year-old boy. And then all of a sudden the guy's camera blinked on or off or somehow. And she was like, I just saw you. And she's like, you look like some 40-year-old perv. And he's like, oh, well, what do you think I look? How do you think I look? Or something like that. And she's like, you look like a 40-year-old perv. And then he started getting real aggressive with her and threatening her that if she didn't do certain things more on camera for him, he was going to start showing her pictures to her family and friends because of what she had shared with him already. And so it's this whole sextortion thing that they're trying to get out into the news. And they had some other great tools on the National Center for Children. I can't remember the exact title. I'll get some more information on it. But anyway, some things like that too that I'd like to share some of those. And even for adults, like you think I have a book somewhere on one of my shelves. I can't remember where it is. I had a pastor give me this book one time, and it was called like Everyone's Normal Till You Get to Know Them or something like that. And because I was just like, when I got into doing ministry work years and years and years ago, when Carly was a baby or little and starting school, I was just so wide open and just letting everybody know everything about me. And I just, you know, oh, well, we're all at church and we must all believe the same way. And they must be my friend. Just because you have something in common with somebody doesn't mean you're always like-minded, and it doesn't mean you're always safe with everyone. Mm-hmm. And so those were some tough lessons too. And that was a good book as well. But that's kind of the mindset of what I was hoping to grow this day and these discussions around, is like, what would we be teaching Mia? What do we want to do to help people in the future, you know, to improve their lives, make their lives better? What kind of lessons have we learned and can we share and grow together and help the community with? So
that's great.
Yeah. Do you guys have any updates or any announcements before we head out?
I don't right now. Lisa, what was your favorite part of the boundaries? What? I never heard from you.
Yeah.
So like I said, I've read this a million times. And so I felt like I knew it, but there were a couple things that popped up to me. And I was like, why did I not remember hearing that before? And I think it's because we do learn and grow through seasons and new things come up in our life. And I think for me, that lack of anger in recognizing that in some relationships, I have a lack of anger when my boundary is being violated. And I need to start listening for a little bit and be okay with trusting and stepping forward in. When I was on the show with Bix and JC and Snippy the other night, somebody said in the comment, Lisa has such strong boundaries. And I was like, and I thought, man, what, I kind of went back and looked at what they were talking about right then. And I think it was because I was willing to kind of push back or say, no, this is what I meant. And these are my words. And this is what I was saying. And I know there was a time where I wouldn't have stood up for myself. I would have just submitted that everyone else is smarter than me. Everyone else is right. I must be wrong. I must be bad. I must be, and so I do feel like that I've grown and learned a lot over the years. But there are places where sometimes I need to, listen for that a little bit more. And I loved the gate thing on this time. That was another thing. I swear I've read this thing 10 times. And I was like, no, I always just heard like, you need boundaries, you need boundaries, you need boundaries. But that's because that's a message I needed at the time. Mm-hmm. And I think now it is time for me to, because I'm more mature and have healthy boundaries in a lot of areas, I think it is time to open the gates or reevaluate some of my fences and see if that's something that should be adjusted or have a gate. Is there a fence where a gate should be, Yeah. So I really love, that was probably my favorite part. Just knowing that nothing, I'm a Libra. So everything's about justice and fairness and equal, and black and white. And that's the way it's got to be, And so knowing that there could be some flow there and that, okay, well, I might have said yes or no in the past, but I've changed my mind and that's okay. Mm-hmm. I think that was probably my favorite part and really powerful for me.
That's cool.
So, yeah.
Well, when the student is ready, the master appears. So even when you've read the book 10 times and you read it for the 11th time, you're still going to get something different out of it. And I love that this is something that you can keep coming back to. And boundaries are always a work in progress. And I think you were a testament to that. And from the time I've known you, I agree. I love your boundaries, and I can definitely tell you, you've done a great job there. So thank you for sharing. And like we all learned a lot from this book, and excited for more Mighty Sirens talk in the future.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. I'm just really excited about sharing all the growth, and I can't wait to come back next week and find out if Carly kicked their butt.
Been doing all this for nothing.
If you have another black eye, or if you gave them a black eye,
Sorry.
Should have been the other guy.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. Well, thank you, ladies, so much. You guys, if you need any links, there were a lot of resources that all of us put on the Telegram group, whether it was free audiobooks or downloads, all those kind of things. You can check that out in the Telegram group in the description below. And it sounds like we're going to be having some chats over the next week or so about what we're going to discuss next and who's going to be sober in January or when we're going to be drinking juice. I don't know. I'm like, wait, is wine is a juice? I don't know. I could move to wine. I could rethink this.
There's actually some really nice non-alcoholic wines coming out, and also non-alcoholic distilled spirits. A lot of people are starting to transition.
Okay. Interesting.
My mom bought the house for me when I come home for the holidays, and I'm not drinking.
I love it. That's really cool. Interesting. Yeah. Well, yeah, a buddy of mine is in, well, he's former Navy, and he was talking about how they would get cases of O'Doul's, which is like the old non-alcoholic beer, because they weren't allowed to have beer on the ship. Yeah. But the guys would want to have a picnic day, or they called it beach or deck party or something like that. And they'd pretend like they're at a beach, and they would have like big cookouts and whatever, and have their fake beer and hang out. I was like, man, that's some imagination you got there, but
it's actually quite interesting when you do drink a non-alcoholic wine or a beer, because you have that flavor and you're kind of expecting to feel relaxed. That, you know, after 2 or 3, you're kind of like, wait, but
it's a placebo. Yeah. And what I found is that if I'm around other people who are drinking, like slowly as the night goes on, I just being in their energy and like their energy field, I start to feel more and more drunk, even though I've only had water the entire night, which I find to be very interesting. And like, I'll feel myself laughing more, just a little bit more loose, but there's actually nothing that's been in my system. And so I find the placebo effect of either just the non-alcoholic or being around other people who are drinking is quite an interesting phenomenon to experience. So
yeah. Dr. McDaniel that I have on Wednesdays, that he created New Eden, the micronutrient product, and that's aloe vera based, but he talks about the placebo effect and how he's seen it in all these different testing things that they've done over all the years and all that, and how powerful the mind is. And then there was one other thing. Oh, he mentioned, we did a video and he was talking about Pottinger's cats. And it was a scientist, and they said they fed one group of cats normal cat food, and they fed the other group a raw diet. And even the ground where they kept the cats became more healthy.
Yeah.
Because of the microbiomes and the enzymes and whatever, what it does to the cat, and then what the cat leaves behind that we don't talk about. And sorry, inside joke, guys. But yeah, so I was thinking about so many parallels with a lot of the shows and things that we're doing right now and going on. And Paige, I want to talk more about your Road to Rooted Grow connection too. Maybe I think you can do something with the Grow Network. That's really cool. Yeah.
I know Marjorie would probably love to be on the show as well.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah, she's such a go-getter and she's so knowledgeable. But your mom as well. I mean, get her on first.
Yeah, we'll drag Nana on here for sure. But there's room for lots of. That's what I love seeing. Women come together and sharing. It feels like that, tribal knowledge. We're here to lift each other up, support the community, the nurturing, healing, all those things. Like now is such the time for it. Not just in our nation, but in the world, I think, so time for everybody to mother up.
You.
Yeah. All right. Well, I will see all of you ladies in the chat, in the Telegram group chat. We can have some of those conversations there, and I'll see you all next week if I don't talk to you before. So thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye.